Does that make sense to everyone where we're going with this? Hopefully. Okay. Now, with these questions, basically you're always going to have an unknown. So you always start out with an unknown and you know something about that unknown, and then you can rearrange it. So let's have a look. We're going to write an equation, define the pronumeral clearly, then solve the equation. So Jared has $6.40 to spend on lollipops that cost 40 cents each. How many lollipops can he buy? So there's a few different things we have to do here. To start off with, there's an issue here. Can anyone tell me what that issue is there?
Ones in dollars, ones in cents.
Yes, and that is a problem, isn't it? We can't figure out something if they're in different units. So we have to decide to get them all the same. So we can either make them all dollars or make them all cents. It's probably easier to make the cents into dollars, isn't it?
Do we write this down?
You can if you want, or you could just follow along for the moment, and then you can come back to the video later and take some notes. So if you just want to follow along, that's cool too. Whatever works for you. Okay, so what we want to do is we're figuring out a situation where we've got so many lots of lollipops times 40 cents is going to equal 640. Okay, so the number of lollipops that Jared can buy, let's call that X. Okay, so Jared can buy so many lollipops and they cost 40 cents each. So if we have so many lots of lollipops times 40 cents, we want that to equal $6.40. So that's our equation. Does everyone make that clear how we got that equation? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now, you guys are very good at solving equations now. So how do we get that X on its own? What do we have to do? Or what is it stuck with? To start with, what's it stuck with? What is the X attached to?
0.4.
And how is it attached to the 0.4?
Multiplied.
Yeah, it's multiplying. So how do you unstick that?
Divide.
Yeah, we're going to have to divide it. Good job. No worries, Nilla. Okay. So we're going to have to divide that on the left-hand side because that's going to leave the X on its own. So remember what I have to do one side, I have to do the other to keep that equation balanced. So we have X is equal to 6.4 divided by 0.4. Now, I should be able to do that in my head, but I'm not going to.
16?
Is it 16?
Yeah, it's
Cool.
16.
Beautiful. So X is equal to 16. So now, if we were just solving an equation, that'd be a great place to leave it. However, we are solving a wordy question, so we must give a wordy answer. So what have we found there? What's the X that we've found?
Jared can
What
buy
you can buy.
16 lollipops.
Yeah, it's the number of lollipops. So therefore we can say, therefore, Jared can buy 16 lollipops for $6.40. There we go. So remember, wordy question, wordy solution. Okay, so if we get that now stuck in our head, we'll get good at that as we go. Okay, I'll give you 20 seconds to get that in your head and then we'll do another one. Okay, is there any questions about that one? Are we all good on that one? Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Here we go. A repair company charges a fixed travel fee of $50 and an hourly rate of $30 for labour on each job completed in a client's home. If H is the number of hours a job takes, write an expression for the total cost of the job. Use an equation to find the number of hours the job took if the total cost of the job was $200. Okay, so this question is quite involved. So, you know what I do when I see these sorts of questions? I write out like a thinking equation to start with, and then I write up a proper equation. So let's just see, let's just have some thinking down the side here. What happens with the cost? How much do you get charged? If you were to call up this company, how much are you going to get charged? So what happens with the charge for the cost? Anyone? What happens? What's the first thing you get charged?
The travel fee.
$50.
Yeah, you get charged the
Travel fee.
$50 first. And then what do you get charged?
$30 per hour.
Yeah, $30 per hour. Okay, so that's some thinking. So that's the sort of thing that goes on in my head. And sometimes I would write that down as well down the side. Okay, so let's use that thinking to write an equation. Okay. Instead of cost, what could I write instead of cost? What can I call cost?
C.
C, that's a great letter to call cost. Okay, so I've got C equals 50. That's the initial charge plus 30. Now, what were we told to use for per hour or the number of hours?
H.
H, beautiful. So there we go. We've got 50 plus 30H. That's what the cost is going to be. Now, technically, they asked for just an expression, which means the no C on the front. But I think that's a good thing to start with to get you into the habit of that. So the next bit of the equation the question says, if it costs $200, how many hours was that? So if we say, if C equals 200, find H. So that's our question there. So what we do is we substitute the 200 into the equation, and we go 50 plus 30H. Okay. Everyone give me some ideas what we should do.
Minus 50 from both sides.
Beautiful. Minus the 50 from both sides. So we've got 150 is equal to 30H. Okay, what should I do now?
Divide 30 from both sides.
Perfect. So divide 30 from both sides. So that one I can do in my head. So H equals 5. Now, that's a beautiful mathematical solution, but what do I have to do because we have a wordy question?
Answer it in a wordy way.
Beautiful. So what are we going to say? Therefore, what could we say? Therefore,
2. I don't know.
use the question to write the answer. So it said, find the number of hours the job took if the total cost was 200. So we could say, therefore, it took 5 hours to complete the job, or something like that. Okay. Is that good? That a good one? Not too weird? Can you see where we've been going with all this? So originally we started out creating the equations, and then we learned how to solve the equations, and now we can do both. We can create it, and then we can solve it, and then we can answer it, which is pretty cool. They've sort of come full circle in the last 3 weeks. Okay, so that's a big step you guys have taken. Okay. Are there any questions about those 2 specific ones before we get into the questions? Okay.